Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about boundaries, but before I get into that, I have a really exciting announcement to make. I have released my guided journal called Anchored. It looks like this, and it is $8.99 on Amazon. I highly recommend it. It's a good coping skill, especially for people that like to journal. It's got it all laid out for you so you don't have to write out the questions, etc. Just wanted to show you that. So it's very exciting. I actually ordered some of these myself because I intend to use them. So anyway, let's get into the video. Boundaries, okay? Boundaries are super, super hard. I am by no means an expert on the subject, but it's definitely something that all of us need to do. We need to be able to set boundaries and enforce those boundaries. I wanted to read a quote because you know how I am about quotes. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. And that's by Brene Brown. So I'm going to give you 3 things to do to set a boundary. All right. So the first one is you got to be self aware, what you need, what you want, what you don't want. And you need to be clear about your expectations of yourself and others, um, such as what you're not comfortable with, etc. Um, Number 2 is assertiveness, which is really hard to do, especially if you are codependent. But you need to be able to express feelings openly and respectfully. State your needs and requests directly. So there's nothing like they're trying to read your mind, but you are telling them this is what's okay and this is what's not, or this is what I'm going to tolerate and this is what I'm not going to tolerate. Number 3, accept any discomfort that arises as a result of setting the boundary. So, guilt or shame, which is common with codependence. So, you got to be able to accept that. And it's really hard. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better in the last few years about this, but I really struggle with it. One more little side note I wanted to make is the first step is being self-aware, but I think there's more to it than that. You need to know your worth, because if you don't know your worth, you're not going to think you need boundaries. You're just going to let people walk all over you because you don't have self-esteem. And I'm of course not an expert on the whole self-worth thing either, but I'm just saying try to love yourself enough to set those boundaries and say, "Hey, this is okay and this is not." I was in some relationships where I was treated really, really poorly, and I didn't set up boundaries. And so I just kept, being hurt over and over and over again. And that was my fault. I should have set a boundary, set a boundary and stuck to it. Um, I have one other quote I want to read. The only people who get upset when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. And that's unknown. I think that makes total sense. People tend to get a little bit irritated when you set boundaries, especially because they were able to get whatever they want or manipulate or, whatever else that benefited them when you didn't have a fence, that said this isn't okay. Um, so I also wanted to recommend some books that really help with boundaries. One of them is simply called Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And I actually read this one and it was phenomenal. In fact, I wish I could dig it out of all my stuff in the shed so that I could read it again, but I highly recommend it. And for those of you that struggle with codependency and have a particularly hard time setting boundaries, I once again would recommend Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. So take care, guys, and I will see you next time.